All right, so you've given us quite a bit here on those familiar foes,
Yeah.
the silos, the politics, the turf wars that just seem to plague organizations.
Yeah.
Looks like we're really going deep on organizational behavior today.
Sounds like it.
You flag Patrick Lencioni's Silos, Politics, and Turf Wars
Okay, why?
as a particularly thought-provoking read. So our mission today, if we choose to accept it, is to really help you understand what causes these silos in the first place.
Right.
And then, more importantly, what can we do about it? What are some practical ways that we can actually break down these silos? Can we really get departments to work together?
Yeah.
Even if it seems like they have completely different goals.
It's a challenge, that's for sure. Almost every organization faces this at some point. Lencioni tackles it, head on through this story of a consultant, a guy named Jude Cousins,
Yeah.
who finds himself navigating this really complex world of organizational dysfunction.
So who is this Jude Cousins?
Yeah.
Fill us in.
Well, Jude is a former marketing executive.
Okay.
And he decides to, kind of strike out on his own and start his own consulting firm.
Bold move.
Cousins Consulting.
Mm-hmm.
And early on, he's killing it. He's got big clients like the Madison Hotel, JMJ Fitness Machines,
Wow.
Children's Hospital.
Nice. Those are some big names.
Yeah, he's doing it all, marketing, operations, strategic planning, the whole 9 yards.
So he's living the dream, right? The consultant rock star life.
You got it, yeah. Until, well, you know how these things go.
Yeah, there's always a but, right?
There is. The stock market crashes, and it takes a big chunk of his savings with it.
Oof, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, and then just to make matters worse, one of his major clients, JMJ Fitness Machines,
Fitness guys, yeah.
they decide to end their contract.
That's rough. A double whammy.
Yeah, it's a tough time for Jude.
So what does a consultant do when they're facing setbacks like this? Do they just kind of throw in the towel?
No, not Jude. He does what any good consultant would do.
Yeah.
He goes into analysis mode, right? He goes back to his clients, and he starts interviewing them.
All right.
Trying to figure out, what are your biggest pain points? What are you struggling with?
Right, get to the root of the issue.
Exactly. And as he's doing these interviews, he starts to notice a recurring theme.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's he seeing?
Silos. Everywhere he goes, he sees these departmental barriers.
Right.
These walls that are preventing teams from actually working together effectively.
It's like they're all speaking different languages almost.
Yeah, exactly. And it's leading to all sorts of problems, internal competition, wasted resources, missed opportunities.
So silos are the villain of our story, I guess.
You could say that.
But how does Jude even begin to, try to take down these barriers?
Well, his first battleground is the Madison Hotel.
Okay.
He decides to implement a pretty classic role-playing exercise.
Okay, I've heard of those. Get everyone in a room.
Yeah.
Try to walk in each other's shoes.
Exactly. The idea is to help employees from different departments see things from each other's perspectives.
So build some empathy, some understanding.
Right, exactly. Break down those us versus them mentalities.
So does it work? Does this role-playing magic actually do the trick?
Initially, there's a glimmer of hope.
Oh.
People seem to be getting it. They're starting to understand the impact of their actions on other departments.
Progress?
But the positive effects are really short-lived.
Oh, no. So the silos creep back in.
Yeah, it's like they never left.
Why? What happened? Just a lack of commitment?
Well, that's what Jude thinks at first.
Yeah.
He's frustrated.
I bet.
But then he has this unexpected aha moment.
Okay.
And it happens while he's visiting his newborn twins in the NICU.
Hold on. Newborn twins in the NICU. That's a lot to handle.
It was a stressful time, yeah.
Huh.
But as he's there, he's watching the nurses and doctors working together.
Okay.
And it's just so seamless. I mean, the environment is incredibly high pressure, right? But there are no silos to be found.
Yeah. When lives are on the line,
Right.
there's no time for all that departmental squabbling.
Exactly. And that's when it hits him.
Was that?
Maybe part of the problem back at the hotel is a lack of urgency.
Okay. So you're saying we need to, manufacture life or death situations to get departments to cooperate?
No, of course not.
Okay, good.
But Jude starts to think, how can we, replicate that sense of urgency, that shared purpose in a regular work setting?
Yeah, without, the drama of the NICU.
Exactly. And then he remembers this conversation he had with Brian Bailey, the CEO of JMJ Fitness.
Wait a minute. The client that dropped him.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. And what does Brian Bailey have to say?
Well, Brian had mentioned that they didn't really have any silo issues at JMJ.
Really? They just don't have silos. How is that even possible?
Turns out a few years earlier, J&J had faced this near-death experience of their own.
Oh.
A major fire that almost took out the whole company.
Wow, a real trial by fire.
Yeah, you could say that. And in the aftermath of that fire, everyone, from the CEO down to the factory floor, had to band together to rebuild.
Yeah.
It was this shared struggle.
How?
They were all fighting for survival.
Right, right.
And in that process, any silos that might have existed they disappeared.
So it's like the fire forged this deep sense of unity.
Yeah.
Okay, so I get it. Shared trauma, shared struggle, it can bring people together.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't exactly, go around setting fires to create that kind of unity.
Right. No, definitely not.
Okay, good.
But what Jude and Lencioni start to realize is that we can achieve a similar effect through something called a thematic goal.
A thematic goal. Okay, now you've got my attention. Tell me more.
Well, think of it as a kind of like a North Star for the entire organization. Right. It's that one unifying priority that everyone can, rally around.
So it's more than just, like a mission statement on the wall. It's something that actually guides everyone's actions.
Exactly. And it can't be some vague aspiration either. It has to be concrete, tangible.
So it's not just like increase revenue or something.
Right. Something like become the industry leader in customer satisfaction within the next year.
Okay.
Or launch a groundbreaking new product line by the end of this quarter.
So it's got to be like focused, time-bound, something with teeth.
Exactly.
I like it.
Yeah, it's about setting a target that everyone understands and can aim for.
Right. So we've got this big overarching goal,
Mm-hmm.
but then how do you actually turn that into concrete actions? What are the steps?
Well, that's where defining objectives come in.
Okay.
So these are the specific, actionable steps that are needed to actually achieve that thematic goal.
So if our goal is like top-notch customer satisfaction, the objective might be like revamp our customer service training.
Right.
Implement a new system for tracking feedback, something like that.
Exactly, yeah. Think of defining objectives as the roadmap.
Okay, the roadmap.
I like that.
But then, you also have all the day-to-day stuff that needs to get done.
Right, the stuff that keeps the lights on.
Yeah.
But it can also kind of distract from the bigger picture.
Exactly. And those are what Lencioni calls standard operating objectives.
Standard operating objectives.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me some examples of that.
Managing expenses, maintaining quality standards, meeting legal requirements, all that kind of stuff.
Right. The essential but not always exciting stuff.
Exactly. So it's about acknowledging those operational necessities, but not letting them, overshadow that main priority, the thematic goal.
Right. Okay, so I'm starting to see how this all fits together, like this framework for organizational alignment.
But how does Jude actually, put this into practice with his clients? Give us a real-world example.
Okay, well, let's look at Batch Technology, his old company.
Right.
They were really struggling to integrate after a merger.
Mergers. Always tricky.
Oh,
yeah.
And the silos were they were rampant.
Yeah, you've got two different cultures, two different ways of doing things.
Yeah, it's a recipe for disaster.
Right.
So Jude comes in.
He's like the silo whisperer.
It's a good one, yeah. He comes in and he guides the executives to, first of all, identify, what is the biggest hurdle here?
Right.
What's the biggest thing standing in your way? And then he helps them craft a thematic goal to actually tackle it.
So what was their thematic goal? What did they come up with?
In this case, it was become a unified company with a single compelling value proposition for customers within 5 months.
Okay, so very specific, very time-bound, and I see how that directly addresses the whole us versus them mentality that we often see in mergers.
Absolutely. It forces everyone to, get on the same page.
Right, row in the same direction.
Exactly. But of course, not everyone's just going to jump on board right away.
Right, there's always pushback, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
In fact, Carter Bell, the CEO, he was pretty skeptical at first.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably used to, the old way of doing things, right?
Right, the more traditional department-specific goals.
Yeah. So how did Jude convince him? How did he get him on board with this new approach?
Well, by connecting the dots.
Okay.
He showed Carter how this thematic goal would actually benefit each department.
Smart.
So, for example, the sales team, They would thrive if they had this clear value proposition to present to customers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But that wouldn't be possible without marketing and engineering working in sync.
Right, right. It's all interconnected.
Exactly. So he's highlighting that interdependency.
I like it.
Showing them that everyone wins when that shared goal is achieved.
So it's not just about, sacrificing for the greater good. It's about everyone actually benefiting.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's batch technology. What about Children's Hospital?
Ah, yes.
They had a very different challenge.
They did. They had this really deep divide between the medical staff and the administrative staff.
Classic silo situation.
Oh, yeah. And it was impacting everything: patient care, employee morale, efficiency, you name it.
That's a recipe for disaster, especially in a hospital setting.
Absolutely. So they needed a thematic goal and a powerful one.
What did they come up with?
They landed on become the safest and most patient-friendly hospital in the region.
Ambitious.
Very ambitious.
Where do you even begin to, address something that broad?
By breaking it down, of course.
Okay, back to those defining objectives.
Exactly. So Jude helped them create these smaller, more actionable defining objectives.
Right.
For example, one was improving communication and collaboration, specifically between medical and administrative staff.
Got it.
Another one focused on streamlining patient intake and discharge.
So they're creating this roadmap for improvement.
Yeah.
With concrete steps that everyone can, understand and contribute to.
Exactly. But was that enough to actually shift the culture and break down those silos?
That's the big question, right?
It was a crucial starting point, but it wasn't the whole story.
Okay, I'm listening.
Lencioni emphasizes that, strong leadership and ongoing review, those are essential as well.
So it's not a set it and forget it kind of deal?
No, not at all.
You got to keep the momentum going.
Absolutely. Leaders, they need to be champions for that thematic goal.
Right. They got to walk the walk.
Yeah, they need to be constantly communicating progress, addressing any obstacles that come up, celebrating wins along the way.
Yeah, keep everyone energized, keep them focused.
Exactly.
Right.
And remember that scorecard that Lencioni talked about?
The one for tracking progress.
Yeah, that can be a really powerful tool here.
Why is that?
Well, it gives you this visual representation of how you're doing.
Right.
It keeps everyone accountable.
Right. So it's not just, words on a page. It's like, okay, here's where we are. Here's where we need to go.
Exactly. But, Lencioni doesn't stop there.
Okay.
He also digs into some other organizational challenges.
Like
those pesky matrix organizations.
Oh, matrix organizations. Yeah. The ones where people report to multiple managers.
Yeah.
I can see how those could be breeding grounds for silos.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
All that overlapping responsibility and authority just creates confusion.
Conflict.
Yeah, for sure. And Lencioni argues that, even in those complex situations, thematic goals can really help.
Okay. How so?
Well, by providing that common focus across departments, across those reporting lines.
So even in that kind of web of, who reports to who, a shared goal can bring some clarity.
Exactly. It aligns everyone.
I like it. And what about, you mentioned he had some other insights.
Oh, yeah. He also talks about the value of bringing in an outside perspective.
Okay, interesting. Like a consultant.
Yeah, like a consultant or an advisor.
Like someone who's not kind of caught up in the day-to-day of the organization.
Right. Someone who can come in with fresh eyes, challenge those internal assumptions.
Sometimes you need that, right?
Yeah.
You need someone to kind of shake things up a bit.
Absolutely. It's like having a coach who can see the bigger picture and help you identify those blind spots.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. So Lencioni's really advocating for, don't be afraid to seek outside help.
Right. Sometimes you need that perspective.
Exactly.
All this talk about thematic goals, it's making me think,
yeah,
is it possible for an organization to have, too much focus? What if they become so fixated on this one goal that they neglect other important aspects of the business?
That's a great question. It highlights the importance of balance, right? A thematic goal, it should be a guiding force. It's not a straitjacket.
Okay.
It's about prioritizing,
right,
not excluding.
So you still need to kind of pay attention to those standard operating objectives.
Absolutely.
Make sure the trains are running on time.
Yeah, keep the lights on, all that good stuff.
And be able to adapt, right?
Yeah.
Because things change.
Oh, constantly.
Yeah.
You've got to be flexible.
So what about those situations where, the thematic goal itself might need to change.
Right.
What if the company's priorities shift?
Well, that's where that time-bound aspect of the thematic goal really comes into play.
Okay.
Lencioni recommends, setting these goals for specific periods, like a year, a quarter, something like that.
Got it.
That way you can, reevaluate, adjust as needed.
So you're not kind of clinging to a goal that's no longer relevant.
Exactly, yeah. Stay agile, stay responsive to change.
So it's not just about, picking the right goal. It's also about knowing when to kind of let go and move on to something else.
Exactly.
This has been really eye-opening. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
The dangers of silos, the power of these thematic goals.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought.
All right.
We've talked a lot about Jude's journey, the solutions he implemented. But what about you? What are the silos that are holding your organization back?
Yeah. Where's that communication breaking down? Where are those turf wars popping up?
It's like take an honest look at your own workplace dynamics and ask yourself, is there a shared goal, a thematic goal that could, unite everyone, get everyone rowing in the same direction?
Yeah, what's that one thing that if you achieved it would have the biggest positive impact on your organization?
It's about finding that North Star, that guiding light.
Yeah.
But like you said earlier, it can't just be some vague aspiration.
Right.
It needs to be tangible, measurable, time-bound.
Absolutely. And remember, creating that goal, it shouldn't be a top-down decree. Right. It's not just the CEO's vision.
Yeah, it needs to be a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
Get input from people at all levels.
For sure.
After all, they're the ones who are going to be responsible for, actually making it happen.
Exactly. Their insights are so valuable. They're the ones in the trenches. They understand the day-to-day realities.
So it's about finding that sweet spot, right?
Yeah.
Between the big picture and the day-to-day.
Right.
The ambitious goals, the essential operational tasks.
It's a balancing act.
And that's where strong leadership comes in, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's about being a champion for that thematic goal.
Yeah.
Communicating progress, addressing those roadblocks, celebrating those wins along the way.
Keep that momentum going.
Remember Lencioni's scorecard?
Yeah.
That visual representation of progress, that can be really powerful.
Yeah, it's a reminder of what you're all working towards together.
It's a rallying cry.
Absolutely.
But leadership, it's more than just, tracking metrics. It's about embodying that collaborative spirit, creating a culture where everyone feels empowered to contribute, to support each other.
Lead by example.
This has been a fantastic deep dive.
It has.
We've uncovered those root causes of silos. We've explored the power of these thematic goals. And we've really highlighted the importance of leadership in creating that culture of unity and shared purpose.
Yeah. If you can get everyone aligned around that one goal, it's amazing what you can accomplish.
So as you reflect on your own organization,
yeah,
what could your thematic goal be?
What's that one thing that, if achieved, would really propel your organization forward?
And more importantly, how would you get everyone on board to actually make it happen?